currently. Arial Rise going 4-1. Unfortunately, their only loss was potentially a result, arguably, of the fact that they had a sub in. So it's pretty evident that Arial Rise is an extremely powerful team in this league, whereas Phantom Rose, they haven't had so much success. And now it's going to be a Phantom Rose Gaming versus an Arial Rise. That's going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this one, and the good thing is we don't have to wait too much longer to do so. Our map bans are going to come right on up, and we're going to get an idea of where this best of 3 is going to take place. Oregon and Cafe off the board. I gotta say, that's pretty good to see. Villa, that's going to be our first map. Ariel Arise, picking that one here. Now the second map, probably something pretty standard as there are a lot on the board, and yes, the clubhouse pick will confirm that. That is where Phantom Rose Gaming will be electing to go. And for these last 3, Theme Park was still on the board, but no longer, nor will Consulate. Coastline is where we're going to end. Good to see that Coastline in play. Always love to see these more unusual maps, the ones that you don't see in the core part of this T3 special that we call it. But it's interesting, Jenna, that you bring up Ariel Arise and the fact that their only loss came when they had a sub on their roster. Turns out, they have a sub again tonight. Kool-Aid will be taking the spot of Woods tonight, joining, of course, Lava, Dami, Og, and Spiff in taking on Phantom Rose. So that is probably not the best place for Ariel Arise to be in, but like you mentioned, Ariel Arise is a team that, I mean, just that name would strike fear in the hearts of any T3 team across all of Siege. And I think tonight will probably be no different. The second place team, Ariel Arise, of course, coming out of the Rogue division versus the third place team, Phantom Rose, coming out of the Raven division. So Ariel Arise, I still think with the sub, they definitely have the edge here. I do think it will be a little bit of an underdog story, but one that could be a little bit more achievable now that Ariel Arise don't have that full roster that they've been touting in these last few weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can only agree with you. And adding on to that point, you have to recognize what are the implications of having a sub in, right? You're not going to have as much of a synergy situation going on. You're not going to have as much team chemistry going on during the match, and that could be absolutely huge. Phantom Rose could possibly eat that up. But we won't even have to talk about this anymore, as now we're going to be going into our first map pick. It's going to be Villa. Is going to be really interesting. We're going to be going into the operator bans, and I am so excited. I'm thrilled, honestly, Jay-Z, to be seeing these operator bans. How about you?
Yeah, the perfect way to kick off these playoffs on Villa, a map that everyone has played and everyone is pretty familiar with. But what that means, Jenna, is that we'll get a pretty good idea of how these two teams stack up against each other. Had we started on a map like Coastline, maybe, one team is more frag heavy than the other. One team just loves that more loose style of play. But when you go to a map like Villa, every single team, they know how to play this map well. There can be loose styles of play. You've got some pretty good roaming opportunities, but at the same time, you can play pretty close to the vest, per se. You could play pretty close to that site, a full anchor strategy. Everything really is viable on Villa, and that is why this is one of those great maps to see. Compared to a map like Clubhouse, right, where you only have 1 or 2 approaches to attacking or defending those bomb sites. When you go to Villa, really, there just are so many opportunities at your fingertips. But now with our operator bans getting underway, the Thatcher and the Ace being taken off the board, those 2 operators gone, that is definitely no surprise. The Mira to join them in the rubbish bin. Again, a typical ban for Villa, no one wanting to deal with those oppressive black mirrors that the Spanish operator brings to the playing field.
Being taken off the board is going to be an operator that actually came around alongside Villa. It's going to be Maestro, and like we said, no real surprise with these operator bans, right? Maestro, Mira, we got Thatcher and Ace off the board. These guys are pretty standard bans, to be honest with you, Jay-Z, and I think honestly it goes along with the strategy. It goes along with the geography of Villa as a whole, right? Maestro, he's got a whole lot of opportunities when it comes to Plant and Isle. Not only that, those evil eyes, they could be hard to see down those really long, strenuous hallways. Not only that, it's going to take a whole lot of utility to clear those out. Mira, kind of same thing, right? It's a whole intel game when it comes to her black mirrors, and intel that you can directly play upon, which is absolutely huge, especially on Villa. Now you got Ace, he's a huge range hard breacher. You want a lot of those on Villa. Thatcher, similar thing, but he takes away that defender utility just as well. But now we're going to be getting into our first round. It's going to be AVG, and to no surprise for us as casters, we normally see this being played out. But one thing that truly is interesting to me is that castle play. Not only that, Valkyrie is going to be taken up on the board. We know that Valkyrie and her black eyes are really mischievous when it comes to taking intel opportunities for the defense. And this could be huge for the defense to get a leg up on this competition and take a few rounds.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here already from Phantom Rose Gaming, I'm loving this. We're seeing a full trophy and statuary extension on this north side of the top floor. Again, on this top on these both of these top floor bomb sites, you really have these two options, right? You can go on that full extension and use a lot of utility, a lot of manpower, or you really can play a lot closer to the site. You maybe just have a roamer or two just applying a little bit of pressure and slowing down the attack at its forefront. But this strategy, it works just the same. It's all about time delay, right? You have all that utility in place. You have some defenders in place as well. Their job is just to sit there, stall out the clock, shoot a couple of drones on the way, just make, in this case, Arial Arise, take up as much time as possible on their initial clear. They're not going to be wasting any time, however, as AUG is already going to work their way into the master bedroom. Looking on towards statuary, no defender actually initially positioned in statuary or trophy. Instead, the only one you're going to have to deal with is Full Metal, playing below with a C4 in hand. It's going to go up pre-placed onto the bathroom floor, but now with the black eye camera taken out, that's going to be a missed opportunity for Full Metal. That's going to go off a bit late. AUG not going to take any damage there. So this entire setup on the north side, it really hasn't come into its full effect.
Not only that, but now that the defenders have pushed back a little bit more, it allows Arial Arise to gain that needed map control, allows them to gain a little bit more intel as to where the exact positions of those defenders are, and potentially frag them out. Not only that, we got a whole lot of opposition coming on the way of Phantom Rose. Exactly. We have 90 being held by them. We got a nice crossfire from the side of those main stairs, those red stairs, should I call it. And Loves, he's going to be that first line of defense. But what's going to be huge here is in the case that Habana, which I believe is either a rounder team. Yeah, I think she might be repelling on the windows. Not quite sure who's repelling, but there was one player repelling, and now that repel won't even be needed. It's going to be AUG to pick up the headshot. Starting off our kill feed for the round, Full Metal coming back with a great response, but now you got the diffuser on the ground. It's going to have to be the attackers to walk out of 90. Mind you, jump out of 90, have to repel back up and waste a little bit more time. Time that is desperately needed for themselves. They've got about 50 seconds left on the clock, and then whole lot of opportunities for them left.
Yeah, we saw there a swing from the classical Hall from PRG there. Not netting any kill, but that will force Lava to take a quick vault out the window, like you prefaced, Jenna, and I think, like you said, I mean, the time is slowly ticking off the clock. Lava has to rotate all the way back around, and that's 25 seconds that you could have been using to burn some utility and actually get an execute going onto the site. Here comes Spiff. That's going to result in the first Toxic Bay being expended, but the Zofia is in the middle of the bomb site. Now the plant going down by Lava. No coverage is there from, oh my god, Spiff is going to get taken right out by Rella, but the head could not be spotted behind the map table, and the plant will indeed be successful. Lava on the prone swing gets absolutely dusted. AUG will find the refrag. That's a double kill for the Ash, but it's now a 3v2 with Arial Arise on the back foot in this post plant. R4 on the coverage while Full Metal teases at diffuser, but Dami is just better. He'll swing around, find one, nearly cutting down Rella, but it's AUG who takes down the planter and Dami who finishes it off. Arial Arise clean it up in round number 1 and take the win.
And you know, in an explosive, almost unprecedented execute, it'll allow Arial Arise to clean up that first round like you had said, but almost surprisingly, because they were at the back foot there that entire time, right? They were fighting for map control. They were trying to get down 90, and time was ticking on them, and they realized that, and they took advantage of that, right? They got into the objective when they needed to. They found the break in the line of the defense, and they so beautifully executed upon that, right? They were able to get in, make the plant, find the crossfire angles, and play upon that just great. I can't really find a whole lot of issues with Ariel Rise's attack other than the time constraints that they had, but even then they were able to work with the time so well, and it left Phantom Rose almost flabbergasted. They were confused by the end. They didn't even know how somebody could plant. Otherwise, I mean, they would have at least tried to disperse a bit, right? I mean, yeah, you had some people swinging, yeah, you had some people that might have known that there were attackers in the objective, but they could not have predicted exactly what would have went on in the rest of that round there.
Yeah, and what's interesting is a couple of missed opportunities is really what characterized that round for Phantom Rose. Obviously, Rella wasn't quite able to see the head of the planter behind the maps table, the more unusual plant spot. Generally, you prefer to go behind the vault door, but of course, that was smoked off by one of those toxic babes. So the reason the plant go down there, it turns out, worked just fine for Arial Rise because they had even more coverage on the diffuser than they would have otherwise. And PRG, their retake was simply just send it through one doorway, and Arial Rise were definitely on top of that and ready to capitalize. Had maybe a PRG defender swung around in 90 Hall and gone for some sort of a crossfire, maybe we could have seen things work out a little bit better, but of course, hindsight 2020, really it's just a guessing game at this point. Dami, he's going to kick things off in round number 2. Again, they're going to be working this pretty similar north to south clear coming in from this Astro side. A C4 is actually now going to be thrown and wasted by Full Metal, hoping to catch out Dami, but he was unable to do so. That has allowed Og to now work his way on up into Astro, and they're starting to secure control of this north side of the map, just the same like we saw in round number 1. It is interesting that PRG are putting so much utility and actually not putting any actual manpower in statuary or in trophy themselves, instead opting for the vertical play. Of course, it's a less risky proposition, to say the least, but of course you do risk allowing Arial Rise to take so much map control in so little time, and we've seen that happen 2 rounds in a row.
Right, I mean, it goes back to the whole thing, high risk, high reward, but low risk, low reward when it comes to that vertical play. Og, though, will be picking up the first kill of the round. Full Metal once again going down, unfortunate as it is, though it's K2 to find one, picking up one with the 416 carbine from the stairs. Unfortunate as it is, you got a 4-on-4 on your hands, but it's unfortunately K2 through the Astro attacker-made hard breach to be killed. That's actually a great play from the side of the attack, knowing to shut off that rotation and being able to effectively work from there. But now you got 90 control. That's going to be busted for the defense, as Loves, he'll be rotating on through the hatch, looking to find his way back to the objective. Now 3-on-3 as Arial Arise look to secure 90. They look to secure, once again, Aviator for a good plan. However, it's going to have to be Phantom Rose to shut down this proposition, like you had said, from the side of the attack. And R4 hopefully will be at the helm of that one, coming in with the smoke canisters, being able to place those out as best as he possibly can. Really got to keep that in mind. Area denial is going to be huge for this push as Arial Rise, or at least Phantom Rose, doesn't like taking those one-on-one engagements. Arial Rise loves doing it, but you got them already in the objective. This is huge. It's a 2-on-2 engagement. I'm sorry, the RTMP is starting to go on us, but a 2-on-2 engagement, and oh my word, RTMP unfreezes the defenders win that round out.
Yeah, apologies, folks. We're dealing with a couple of technical difficulties on our end, as I'm confident you have noticed. But regardless of that situation, it is clear that Phantom Rose managed to secure that defensive round, correct some of their mistakes, and take the round win on Aviator in game. So a nice job there from PRG to bring things back after the near win in round number 1, but one that they just quite couldn't finish off. But doing so in round number 2, that's going to mean we are going to see a different bomb site in round number 3. We're going to head on over to Trophy and Statuary. Now, Jenna, in my experience, this bomb site, it does play out quite similarly to Planes and Games, or AVG, whatever you want to call it. You really can do the same attacks and the same defensive setups for the most part. You can extend over to the Aviator side if you're the defenders, and you can lock that down with either utility, manpower, or a little bit of both. Instead, you could just hold up the site, and you could go for something of a closet extension that it appears that Loves is going to be displaying right now. Utilizing this deployable shield, I'm sure we're going to see a couple of ADSs be placed down from Full Metal as well, and this is going to mean we're going to see a pretty solid turtle-like setup on this north side. But this also means that Arial Arise will be presented with a choice of their own. Do they want to work their way in and go for that full top floor clear, just like we saw them do in those two previous rounds, this time, of course, entering from that study side, or is it going to be a more direct and aggressive push into Master? Now, this closet setup, it is designed specifically to slow down and stall out the Master push, because now, as an extra step to that aggressive attack, you need to actually clear out closet, burn all that utility, spend all that time to get, and in this case, Loves, out of that position. But Phantom Rose Gaming, they're actually going to do a little bit of both. They've extended over this study side as well, hoping to stall out this push that Arial Arise are now displaying. The full map clear appear to be their desires.
You know, third option that I was going to present to you, Jay-Z, was that Arial Arise could go below, even in kitchen, gain that control, right? Be able to seed Ella out of the closet with either a frag grenade, something that would prevent a one-on-one engagement with a very powerful shotgun that is semi-automatic, mind you, and extremely deadly, and not have to go against an operator that could potentially cause a whole lot of collateral for your team. I mean, yes, you could try to burn out the ADSs and you could try to waste time for yourself by doing so, but why would you want to do that when Ella currently is quite obviously sitting on a very soft floor and you could frag her from below? I mean, it's just an idea, but you know, of course, I don't really see it working out. However, Loves, he's going to be taking a few operators with him, but he will eventually be fragged out. Although you look at the collateral, it's Lava, it's Og, and unfortunately, they're going to be down. Those are your two main entry players. Not only that, you got utility going down for your team just as well. So now a 3-on-4 situation, Love takes 2 with him, although he does go down, going 5-2 right now, really heavy on the frags for himself. But now you got Arial Rise, they're taking control of Master Bedroom, attempting to find that hard breach whenever and wherever they can.
Yeah, with 1 minute to go and losing a bit of this manpower, Arial Arise definitely find themselves on the back foot here in round number 3. We can see that Spiff is trying to bring that back. More aggressive peek towards this Astro side. He actually does see the arm of Rella. We see the outlines. Of course, Spiff cannot. So unsure if that was an operator. So taking those shots a bit too late. Rella allowed to escape that grisly fate. It's going to be a 3v4 still. Kool-Aid working their way up into the bathroom now. The crossfire established on Astro, combined by Dami on that Astro window rappel. So it really does look like an Astro take may be in order. A nice shot there from Spiff. Now looking for the second, but it's instead going to be Full Metal on the swing. K2 with the follow-up, and that is going to leave Dami all alone in a 1v3 situation. This is one of those times without the diffuser in hand that sometimes we see teams on the attacking side just kind of give up, use this moment as a timeout because this is so unlikely to pull off. But Dami is no such player. He wants to go for the full send, swinging on through, but he's got 2 defenders staring right at him. R4 cleaning things up, and PRG will take 2 rounds in a row.
PRG looking really strong on their shutout defenses. I mean, they allow Arial Rise to get a minimal amount of map control on them, at least for that round, and then they're able to shut them down when that explosive execute comes along towards the end of the round. I think Phantom Rose, though, they've gotten down the formulaic approach of Arial Rise. Arial Rise loves to play with time, they love to mess around with it, they love to gain control of map early, but mid-round, that becomes an issue for them. They start to try to fall back into their stagnation where it comes to intel. They try to get some utility clearing going, and I feel as though that's where a lot of teams struggle. Mid-round, trying to find your way through the map, trying to gain as much control as you can, and trying to get the upper hand when it comes to the objective. But for Arial Rise, they seem to have a unique struggle with it, where it forces them to make those explosive executes at the end. And so far, they've been able to sail along with it, right? They've been able to use their mechanical ability and their strategy to support that, but especially having a sub in, it doesn't really help all out too much with that team chemistry factor, with using the strategy, with using the mechanical play to support that. So all in all, I think Arial Rise, they're at a huge deficit here. Phantom Rose knows exactly what they're doing, and they're getting punished for it.
They do have the opportunity to correct things here, of course. Villa being so defensive-sided, or it generally used to be so defensive-sided, but now recent changes in the meta means that this map finds itself going 3-3. Actually, it's not all that uncommon, but we do generally expect to see a 4-2 split on this map. And I honestly think that Arial Arise just 1 round down, or 2 rounds down. I don't think they're sweating it too much. If they just get one more out of these next few rounds on attack, I think they will be poised and in a pretty good position to go on the defensive half on their own map pick, mind you, in a pretty strong way. So I am looking forward to seeing that. But first, we still have a couple more rounds to get through on Arial Arise's attacking side. They're working their way in from the master approach, probably attempting to play some vertical here. You've got Loves and Full Metal looking to contest this. Well, not anymore for Full Metal's sake, nor will Loves. A swing out towards the master door will only end in misery for Phantom Rose, as Lava and Og will clean up 2 more. And just like that, Rella is alone in a 1v5. That one turned around quickly, only 60 seconds gone in the round, and Phantom Rose's hopes are gone as well. Og will finish it off with the R4C, and Arial Arise will confirm round number 4 in the quickest fashion possible. That wasn't really a rush. There wasn't really an intent to speed things along that quickly from Arial Arise, but the kills, they just found themselves in the Arial Arise hands, and they were definitely going to capitalize on that.
Most definitely. Again, I can't agree with you more there. That was the definition of mechanically outclassing and positionally outclassing the opposition right there. You had a whole lot of hyper aggression from the side of PRG. Unfortunately, it was met with a whole lot of better gunplay. It was met with a whole lot of strategic mechanical play. And frankly, PRG, they just were not up to the test there. And Arial Arise, I mean, gaining that round in such flawless fashion, that really has to do a number to you as Phantom Rose. You really have to reevaluate that round, what went wrong, and realistically what you can do right from here. But we won't even be looking at that bomb site anymore as we head on back to AVG. Aviator Games is what I mean. So we'll have a few rounds, hopefully, before we see Kitchen again. At the very least, we only have one more round after this one before we see Phantom Rose on the attack. So it could very well be a different proceeding by the time Arial Arise hits their defense rounds. But so far, 2-2 scoreline isn't all too bad for Arial Arise. But I've been eating my words here, Jay-Z, I really have. I said that one round, Phantom Rose caught on to the formulaic play, and then the next round, Arial Arise loves to prove me wrong, and just, they really love to make me eat my words every single time. A flawless round for them, absolutely beautiful.
I mean, yeah, there really isn't much you can say other than the sheer perfection of Arial Arise on that one. Oh, this could be an opportunity for Metal, but no, he's not going to capitalize on it. No C4 will go down. Instead, it's the breaching round from Spiff to open up that castle barricade on the Astro side. So once again, around number 5 here, we're seeing Arial Arise undergo their pretty same, like you said, Jenna, formulaic approach. You work your way in from the master side, clear your way on through, and I suppose PRG, they're not changing anything up either. We're seeing the exact same setup, no active defensive pressure on this top floor. It's only Full Metal with a C4 in hand and many cameras and information to work with lurking below. But look at this, Arial Arise have already made their way well through the master side, so they're not going to have to deal with the pressure from Full Metal, at least, but the pressure from K2 has taken Lava, at least to the DBNO state. Should be in a position to be rezzed and back on their feet. Kool-Aid will make that certain, but Phantom Rose Gaming, they're already starting in the upper hand here. The one thing that Arial Arise have going for them, and well, it's quite a big thing, is that they've made such good progress in so little time. Only 90 seconds have been burned off the clock, and at any point going forward now, we could be seeing an execute because Arial Arise are in position to do so. The one thing they have to be careful of, though, is a C4 from below. Full Metal, having not wasted that C4 yet, is right below 90 Hall, and Spiff is in a dangerous position, hanging out over that soft floor. Same for Kool-Aid, although Dami and Og, are pressuring from that east side of this site, so they should be in a safer position. I do believe the C4 actually did just go up and didn't miss. So that is a missed opportunity there for PRG. Now Arial Arise, the only business is the execute.
Right you are. And I mean, Arial Arise, they are really good at those explosive executes. I mean, they're 1 for 1 so far on AVG. So if they're able to cap this one out, it'll be 2 for 1. We're going to hope that they do so as now they look to open up vault. We may be seeing a split type of push here coming from multiple angles, and now it will be confirmed. We got Kool-Aid going in alongside Spiff. They're going to be looking for those kills. One holding from really close on the door. It's going to be Dami, though. He picks that one off. K2 going down. R4 the same way. And oh my word, 2 players! And it's going to be the attack going and falling prey to the defense. Full Metal sitting right by the vault door, and there you have it. He capitalizes on that one, swings around. The man is on a swivel, picks the round up, and that is round 5 going in the way of the defenders when it looked all too desolate for them to win.
Wow, and an impressive turnaround for PRG there, to say the least. I mean, that one really looked all Arial Arise when it came down to the execute. Dami with the opening pick. We saw R4 not able to find anything on the swing, even though he had a shotgun in his hand there. So even though that happened, I mean, Arial Arise, they had everything going for them, except they didn't quite drone out or identify the position of the Valkyrie, just hiding tucked in the default vault door plant spot. Not the most ideal mistake there for Arial Arise to be making on one of the most pivotal rounds. Exactly. Pivotal rounds we've seen so far. Right now, with that 3rd round under their belt, Phantom Rose, they won't be in too much of a troublesome situation either way. If they secure this 4th round, sure, they'll definitely be in the upper hand position, but it won't be too crazy for Arial Arise to bring it back. If Arial Arise themselves can take a round here either, again, pretty even playing field for both of these teams. It really just comes down to what Arial Arise can bring forth on their defense. I really do like what we saw from the defense from Phantom Rose that time. We saw it was a lot more passive in terms of overall utility usage. I'm thinking of the, Full Metal C4. Obviously, that specific C4 didn't actually come into effect, but the very lack of manpower, the extension on the top floor that we're not seeing from PRG, again, it did end up working wonders for the defense because they did not lose any manpower early, even though, sometimes you can consider that an okay loss of manpower, given if you waste enough time off the clock. PRG, they chose to play it a lot more passively, and that style, it worked out very well for them because look who was still in the fight when it came down to the execute. It was Full Metal who got a pivotal kill in those closing moments. But this time, the tides are turning a little bit. Spiff is going to find the first one, now on the hunt for the second, but instead, it is Og, credited with kill number 2. Already, Arial Arise in the tremendous upper hand of 5v3 now.
Yeah, I mean, you got Arial Arise. They've done their full roam clear scenario and with great results. Rayla, Full Metal down for the count for Phantom Rose. You got the Goya with the Vector and the Jaeger with the 416 carbine. 2 very powerful guns, especially at close range. And for you to be down that early in the round, it's going to give Arial Arise a very significant advantage, especially knowing that they're a very aggressive team. But I think we know a whole lot more is going to be coming in the way of the defense and possibly the attack, right? We got Loves, he's sitting on the corner of the doorway. I believe that the attack knows exactly where he is, especially aided by that laser, but R4, he'll be picking up one instead. That's Lava going down for a beautiful, well-placed headshot from the SMG-11, and now R4 looks to pick up a 2nd kill for himself. Kool-Aid's going to be the 2nd one to try his hand at this engagement through Boar. Very well may get it, but K2, oh my word, different angles, a whole lot of different engagements. He picks up one Dami going down, and a 3v3 ensues. It looks like R4 getting a little bit aggressive in the positioning, is looking for a player, and he knows exactly that there's a player sitting there, and oh my word, going forward, it's R4 to get the kill with the Mossberg, as Kool-Aid trying to find one, unfortunately goes down. Loves picking up one just at the same moment, but Og responding for K2. Og is the final player remaining, and it's R4 to cap things off with the SMG-11 kill all the way through the wall, all the way through into Astro.
Well, the methodical take from Arial Arise, it got a bit hung up that time. PRG, they said, you know what, let's just start swinging. And finally, the M590 in the hands of the Mute, it finally paid off. And, well, it really did a number on the Arial Arise attack. But here's what we're seeing. I mean, I think the scoreboard says it quite well, Jenna. I mean, Og Of course, getting those 10 kills, looking really strong. But Kool-Aid, the sub we talked about coming in for this series, has not been able to find much. Of course, playing support, you don't expect to find that scoreboard all that much, but on attack, that is usually where you see a lot more of those kills spread around. I think overall, Arial Arise, they've done their job. You know, they've gotten those 2 rounds that you definitely need on your Villa attacks nowadays. But I think they could have easily had a couple of more. They had moments where they just looked so poised and so ready to take a round, but a little bit of aggression and some perfectly timed swings coming out from Phantom Rose Gaming just was a little bit too much for Arial Arise to handle. But overall, Jenna, I'm loving what we're seeing in this series so far. It's been back and forth all night long, at least all half long. And I suspect we are in for no different as we get to this second half. Arial Arise, of course, they're going to be starting out their defense, and no surprise to see them doing so on Aviator Games.
I mean, you know, I'm really intrigued to be seeing how Phantom Rose is going to be taking their attacking rounds. It looks like they're going to be going from the same side and the same way that Arial Arise took it, but this time around, Arial Arise, they may put up a little bit more of a fight. In this case, I mean, we got Dami, he's going to be sitting on 90, looks to be aided by multiple teammates, but so far you have nobody directly roaming outside of the site. You got a whole lot of players staying around the site, but nothing too crazy in the way of an outside roamer. That's a little bit different from the defense of Phantom Rose. You definitely know that Full Metal was roaming. I believe we had another player roaming at 1.2, but there isn't really all too much roaming when it comes to Arial Arise, unless you want to count very close to the objective. But it looks like actually Dami, he rotated down a little bit farther down, but Loves picks off Og. Fortunate as it is, that's your Jaeger going down. Not the hugest pick, but a big fragger to be going off. Now Dami, as I eat my words once again, he rotates back down all the way over to Library, so he could very well find himself in an advantageous pick position if Loves does not watch his angles, does not watch his back.
Yeah, these are 2 quite different defensive strategies, and I think Arial Arise are feeling the full force of PRG capitalizing on a little bit of positioning mistakes coming out from this defensive team. That is 2 kills already in PRG's hands, and Loves actually finding both of those kills on the Ash. Really not much that Dami or Og even knew what was going on. I mean, Dami had to have known that Loves was lurking around the red stairs, given that Og had just died to the very same position, but there was a little bit of misinformation amongst the team. Dami didn't quite know exactly what they were dealing with, and as a result, Loves was happily there to capitalize on it. So in a 3v5, Arial Arise, they definitely have their work cut out for them as this execute is soon to unfold. Spiff is going to miss a quick opportunity there onto Rella as the Hibana vaults out the window. But right now we see this attacking pressure. It's mounting from all sides. You've got Loves now working their way up into 90 Hall, only staring at the fallen corpse of Rella, the Hibana, who was cut down by a nice swing there from Lava. So a good response from Arial Arise. The question is that enough, given that the man advantage and the time is still plentiful for PRG? Here comes that push. The Toxic Babes are not enough to deny the plant as R4 will stick it. Here comes another smoke canister, but again, it is off the mark. Instead, it's the C4 from Spiff who gets it. Lava finds one, taking down K2, equalizing the man count, but Loves now finds another. That's a quad kill for the Ash, and to win this round, it's going to have to be that elusive ace. You've got Kool-Aid here, prone in games, looking for this kill with the SMG-11. Loves finally into the site itself, taking care of that Banshee, but now pushing on up. Apparently no idea where Kool-Aid is positioned on the other side of this wall. There's going to have to be a swing, but it's instead Kool-Aid who capitalizes, and Arial Arise will take a dicey round 7, but a win nonetheless.
And in a whole lot of varying picks, a whole lot of chaos, a whole lot of trials, tribulations, love, and loss, you have Arial Arise. They're going to be coming out victorious with that round just by the skin of their teeth. Oh my word, that's absolutely a crazy round to be played out, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved the twists. I loved the turns. It was just the drama of it all. Oh my word, but a whole lot of things to analyze with that. So first, we have Valkyrie, or what I believe was Valkyrie, sitting from below. And she or he, whichever the operator was obviously aided by intel, right? Knowing that the plant was going down, the defense of Arial Rise knew exactly that that plant was going down. Not quite where it was, but it seemed like to know, they knew around the area where it was going down, and able to get off that C4. And that catalyzed a whole lot of opportunities for Arial Rise to open up that round once again. I mean, it seemed like Phantom Rose, they had that round solidly in their grip. But with a whole lot of missteps being played out there, I mean, they weren't unfortunately able to do a roam clear from below because they didn't have a whole lot of time. They stagnated a little bit in their mid-round push, so they weren't really able to do all too much there. Plus, you had Loves, I believe. He went below, but obviously wasn't able to stay below. He played along with his team, which in a way is good, but also hindered a whole lot of opportunities for Phantom Rose to find more kills and to find more objective control. But we won't even talk about that at this point. Point being, though, is that Arial Rise was able to close out that round, starting with the C4 and ending with the wonderful kill by Kool-Aid.
I got to admit, I think Phantom Rose probably should have won that last round. They were a little bit disjointed on that push, and Arial Arise, they are a very competent team, as anyone would tell you, the beast of T3, and as many would agree, for so long, right? And they will capitalize on every sort of tiny misplay. If you're going to allow a C4 to be thrown on up and not shot out in the middle of the air, or not repositioned, if you're not going to bait that out in time, you are going to pay the full price. And like you mentioned, Jenna, that C4 was indeed a turning point in the round. But once again, Arial Arise, they're going for quite early contest onto the attackers as they work their way in. We're seeing a double hold on this Aviator side, and Spiff is actually going to find the opening kill onto Loves, a complete seeming 180 to the last round in the way that occurred, because Loves was the one who found the two opening picks onto the unsuspecting Arial defenders. This time, the story is all Arial, but oh, here comes Spiff just walking on up, and that is not going to pay off. Full Metal is going to get that kill regardless of the timing of that swing, losing most of their HP for their troubles, but the Zofia is still sitting up and in this fight. With now the majority of this extension now dealt with, the story remains for PRG how they're actually going to execute on this bomb site. Likely going to see, based on this setup, it appears to be a pretty solid south side approach. Usually at this point, we'll have an attacker rotate around to the master side to be pressuring from there as well, and that will ensure that no defenders are allowed to hole up in there, as we see one doing right now. That is going to be Dami. He's not in the master site, in statuary instead, swinging on back and forth to figure out exactly where these attackers are approaching from. That is in fact Lava, holed up in the closet, and now has to be droned out by K2. The drone is going to come on through, and I do believe Lava has now been noticed, so he's going to have to back off that angle. Lava actually finding one kill there, Og finding another, and all of a sudden Lava lines up a third. And Arial Arise, they come out of nowhere, and they will take the round cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the misstep there on the side of the attack, specifically for the attackers trying to move into master bedroom, was the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of intel on their side. The drone economy may have been shattered by the time that they were able to hit master bedroom, and for that, they got a whole lot of punish going their way, right? There was players sitting in closet, there was players trying to swing around the door of master bedroom. It just was a kill box for the attackers trying to peek everything, and it did not work out their way, it did not work the way they wanted to, and that is the drawbacks of a split push, to say the very least, right? You know, there's usually a whole lot of positives when it comes to a split push, you know, trying to keep the pressure on the defenders, but the drawbacks, of course, include the fact that you're not going to have a whole lot of support. You're going to have to rely mostly on yourself and potentially another attacker alongside with you to frag out for you, and if you do get a whole lot of pressure going on your side, then it turns into a mess. It turns into a chaotic mess, and something that, of course, you know, you don't really want to have for the rest of the round, just to say the very least. And unfortunately, it turned in the way of Arial Rise toward the end. Phantom Rose weren't able to cap off that round, and now we see a 4-4 split. Arial Rise are going to be looking to cap off their defensive rounds and finish off their rotation on Kitchen. Although they have nobody sitting in the objective right now. That's really interesting. I think Lava will be rotating on around to the objective, but so far, this is extremely free. In the case that Phantom Rose goes below through Pantry, they could very well get a plant off. I mean, we know there's probably a lot of vertical angles being held, but Arial Rise being so committed to this top floor hold could be very concerning for their defense. Of course, yeah, you got Lava going back to the objective, but only one player there. Phantom Rose gets wind of this. They can use that to their advantage.
Well, this is the thing, right? With a pretty extended roam and early pressure from the defense put onto the attacks, is it can be very hit or miss. It can be very, one-stop shop in terms of how much you're able to do in a round. And I think Kool-Aid is just making that happen again. This early pressure, a miss drone from the Mozzie here, or actually a capitalization from the Mozzie. That's going to be Kool-Aid lining up one, and no response was able to be found by Loves. Og now finding another, but this time finally traded out by Full Metal to bring this one back. But oh my goodness, Arial Arise, they just do not stop. Arial will get another pick. That's Dami in this case, getting another, and now leaving Rella and Loves all alone in this round. Rella finally responding in some way, cutting down Spiff and making this one more achievable. This is about the point in the round where Arial Arise have to be quite careful because they can risk losing the advantage very fast if they play too isolated. Some vertical shots, though, coming out from Kool-Aid will put Rella down, but not out, and actually revived back into this fight now that Loves was playing close, and Loves themselves is actually at 100 HP. So things still looking okay for Phantom Rose. That drone being snagged is not going to do them much good, though, as now the last drone, the last piece of information, it is now being displayed here, coming out from Loves. We're going to see Kool-Aid droning himself as well, utilizing his snag drone on the Mozzie. Usually you don't see too much of that, but when you do, it is pretty good to see. But here's what has to happen, Jenna. Phantom Rose need to get something going. It has to be very swift, and they have to have their information game on point. One small miss drone, one small lack of coordination on this two-man push, and Kool-Aid is going to be right around the corner to capitalize.
Oh yeah, Kool-Aid. He's gonna be sitting in that mud room trying to hold on the corner of the door. Could very well get a very potent flank off, but it will be him to do so. P10 capitalizing on that, as well as Dami making a swing with the MP5. Wonderful headshot for him as the defense once again finds another round. I believe 3 in a row just about for them. And that was absolutely amazing from the side of Arial Arise, not only to tie things up, but to now gain a round in their favor. It came from a 4-2, now to a 5-4. It seems the attack is having a whole lot of destruction, or falling apart, should I say, of their strategy, of their play, and more specifically, in general. But oh man, this is going to be absolutely crazy. So, I loved how Arial played it. I loved how Arial played that round because not only were they aggressive enough to gain picks, but they were knowledgeable enough. They had the situational awareness enough to know when to get back down to the objective, when to find advantageous spots to play around, and when to get the kills. When they knew Phantom Rose had their backs turned, when they knew they could find a nice flank, a really good kill around them, and they played the area out so confidently that they were rewarded for it in the best sense. A whole lot of kills down on the board for Arial Arise, and a whole lot of destruction on the side of Phantom Rose. Of course, you had 2 players that had to pick up the pieces towards the end, and it simply was not enough.
I think we're seeing, this is a pretty typical Arial Arise playstyle, right? They love these defensive strategies that involve so much early pressure onto the attackers as they work their way in the building. This reminds me of their consulate play. They have quite a strong admin hold where they use Mira and they just lock down that early pressure that the attackers are just trying to, when they're just trying to get into the building. Arial Arise, they love to pressure early on. And against a team that is extremely disciplined and knows exactly what they're walking into, that's well practiced and knows how to capitalize on that kind of extension, then those plays can get rather risky. However, it appears that, at least so far, Arial Arise, they seem to have the upper hand when it comes to these early fights, and it's being proved time and time again. Dami is going to line up another kill, and although these kills have gone back and forth so much in round number 10, Arial Arise, they do find themselves on the front foot again in a 4v3 with only 60 seconds having transpired. I mean, this has been the theme of the evening so far. So much early action. I mean, it's great to see so much early action, but for Phantom Rose, that early action, those early engagements, they're just not going their way for the most part. And Arial Arise have done a great job of capitalizing. If PRG want to make this one happen, if they want to really not allow Arial Arise to run away with this one, as they only sit one round away from match point here, they need to solve these problems dealing with these aggressive defenders as soon as possible. I mean, Dami looks like he could be poised to even go for an aggressive swing onto Study. I mean, I don't know if that's the play, but this is, oh, there it is. I mean, he's going to make me eat my words as well, Jenna. He's going to swing right out, taking down K2. This is the aggression I'm talking about.
Oh, most definitely. I can only concur with you, as now Spiff, unfortunately, gets a headshot, but on his own teammate. You have all going down there. I believe it was from Loves, looking through that reinforced, or rather breached wall. You got Rayla, though, all the way down from 90, picks up that kill, but Dami on the response finds Rayla, but since August down, it's a one-on-one. Intensity is gathering. Rayla looking for any opportunity to find the remaining player. I believe she knows, or he rather knows, the person sitting in vault. And there you have it. That's attackers with a wonderful swing and a hit, winning out the round.
Okay, PRG, they're just gonna win. I mean, it just didn't seem to matter.
They shut down the opposition. That's Arial Arise when they get too cocky. That's Arial Arise when they get too hyper aggressive. They get punished for it. That's it.
Yeah, that was interesting, right? It actually, it's weird because it didn't seem like the aggression is actually what cost Arial Arise. I mean,
really,
when they went for the aggressive swings, they won, I'd say 50-8. I mean, the majority of those gunfights, like 80% of those gunfights, they won on those early pushes. I mean, Dami being that big player who was doing it. But I mean, for the most part here, PRG just won that out when it turned into more of a traditional take. The push in from games, the push in from that Study breach that was opened up by those Hibana pellets, it just seemed to catch Arial a little bit off guard. And I'm a little bit surprised about that, I've got to say. It was an uncharacteristic shift from Arial Arise being on just so much on the front foot to all of a sudden losing that and making Dami, you know, have to get that quad kill on the round to bring it back. Not something easy to do against Rella, a hungry Hibana looking for that final blow. So a great job from PRG. They are making some of those adjustments that I was talking about and that I spoke about. Those were the necessary adjustments that they had to make. And by doing so, they're actually going to equalize the score line and, at least for now, stop a little bit of that bleeding. The momentum from Arial Arise that has been established so strongly over the last few rounds, starting to maybe just stall out a little bit. But this round, this one is going to be the big one for PRG right now. They need to take this one, because if they allow themselves to be down on match point on the attack on Villa, that is generally not the best recipe for success. But I mean, look at this. We're back on Aviator in games. This is the site that Phantom Rose, they ended up winning last time around, if you were just with us 2 seconds ago. So I do think that this one still could go either way. And Arial Arise, like you mentioned, Jenna, they do have to rein it in just a little bit. The aggression, it's working, but they still need to be on top of their game when it comes to a very calculated and very strong PRG execute.
Yeah, I mean, I think you persuaded me. I think you definitely persuaded me here. Phantom Rose, I just have to ask you a question on this one, especially when it goes with last round. Do you think the aggression, the late round aggression from the two remaining players of Phantom Rose really played into their success? Or do you think it was more of just a random traditional take?
Honestly, you could be right about that. That maybe, you know, are you suggesting that PRG countered aggression with aggression and found success there? Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see how that continues to unfold. But I mean, look at this lava, no way, getting a triple kill. right in the middle of the 90 hull, just cutting down K2, cutting down Rella, full metal, all on Lava's now kill list here. Love is going to try to pull this one back, but Dami is there on the swing, and Spiff will close things out in an instant. And Arial Arise, they're not going to mess around. We were talking a bit of smack about their lack of cohesive hold, and they said, you know what, casters, screw you. We're going to go on this attack, or the defense, but what looked like an attack, because they just swung everything, taking names, and now they've got match point on the horizon.
They do have match point on the horizon. I mean, there isn't a whole lot to analyze with that round, being that it was just all lava. And I think I have to ask, is Lava a newer pick? I believe Lava is a newer pick, right?
Correct. One of the two, Spiff and Lava, are the new players brought on to replace Whitlock and Gunner.
So, I mean, it would be a feat of your own just to be finding a kill in general, to be finding that many kills being with this team from the beginning. But for Lava to find that many kills in that sequence of events and being a newer player on this team really shows his ability to position himself, his confidence going into these engagements. I mean, he made the single most biggest impact frag potentially for the entire game, because now Phantom Rose, they're on the back foot. They're gonna have to look to pick up this round, get us into overtime. We know we're on infinite overtime, but Arial Rise, they're looking stronger than ever, and aided by that huge play, they're going to be confident just as well. So hopefully they'll be taking more of those aggressive plays, as we know they do, and hopefully they'll be winning them out as well. I'm excited to see what type of take Phantom Rose elects to do, whether it's going to be the study side or whether it's going to be master, or like we've seen in prior rounds, a little bit of both.
Yeah, well, on the side of the defense, at least, you've got, I guess, an Arial Arise special. You've got Kool-Aid just kind of vibing your smoke, which is an odd decision. Playing very extended on a long roam downstairs. Looks like Kool-Aid will be rotating back, though, correcting that little odd decision. But PRG, they're starting to work their way into Master. Like you speculated, this is going to be, it appears to be a pretty direct Master take. The camera work from Lava is going to confirm that nobody is pressuring from the study side. Everything is going to come in the way of a full Master and Astro send. You've got this wall electrified, though, so there's something going to have to be done about that. K2 is bringing those frag grenades, so they can definitely be utilized. But of course, you got to be careful. Those ADSs are much in play. Here comes that burn, though. The flash grenades are going to go on up, and that is going to allow K2 to now throw that nade on over. The Electro Claw, likely soon to be destroyed, will then allow the Hibana of Rella to actually get that off. No, the first Electro Claw will remain in this fight, per se. Actually, both nades have been used from K2 here, so that is a big problem for PRG. Loves doesn't even matter for his case. He's going to take down Og anyway, but Spiff is there and will get a response.
I was a little bit concerned there for Dami at the moment. He seems to find himself in a whole big awkward situation with the wall. Frag grenades flying out, got a little bit aggressive there, and I was surprised that he didn't come up upon any engagements. Yet the attackers, unfortunately, did not get all too frisky with that, and neither did Dami. But now they're going to be stacking up all around Bathroom, trying to make their way in, but oh my word, it's Kool-Aid up on the kills. It'll be Spiff, though, to respond, and oh my word, Rayla actually getting that kill, but a 1-on-3 as will have it. Phantom Rose not looking good for this potentially final round. Gonna have to pull out a huge clutch to keep Phantom Rose in the game. Rayla looking to do just that. Getting peeked now. Playing around with time is going to be Spiff, just trying to get as many aggressive peeks as he can, wasting as much possible time for Rayla, but looking to go into Astro will be him. Now, wasting out just a little bit more time. Oh my word, it's going to be Lava going down to him. Double kill. So looking good so far on this, but only with just about 5 seconds left on the clock, and it'll be Spiff who prones through the doorway to get the kill on Rayla. And that is going to be the game 7-5 for Arial Rise.
Well, thankfully for Phantom Rose and Phantom Rose Gaming fans, this is, of course, a best of 3, and will be coming up on Clubhouse next, where I think we're going to see quite a response from Phantom Rose Gaming. Now, Jenna, I think you probably noticed, as I did as well, I mean, we're talking a lot about Arial Arise, right? And honestly, in this case, I don't think it's too much of a surprise. They really did seem to be the team that kind of set the pace of this map, and were the ones to make pretty big decisions, and those decisions were the ones that dictated the way these rounds unfolded. PRG, it really did see like they were along for the ride, and despite finding those 5 rounds, it just wasn't as clean as I think we would have liked to see. Now, Arial Arise, for those of you who are not familiar, they are the reigning CCS champions, the biggest T3 league out there, and as anyone will tell you, getting that title takes a little bit more than a smile. Although the roster is different and this team has, gone through quite a lot of ups and downs since then, that is why they are such a team to be reckoned with. And I think Phantom Rose Gaming have at least done their part to prove they can hang on Villa. They can hang for 5 rounds, but I'm really interested to see how that translates over to Clubhouse. This is, of course, going to be Phantom Rose Gaming's map pick, so you would expect them to come out strong. But interestingly enough, as we talked about before the match, Jenna, Arial Arise have chosen to go on the attacking side. So an interesting decision, and one that we're going to have to wait a few minutes to see how it is going to play out. We are going to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back. and many defensive sided maps in this game, but specifically Clubhouse, this is a map that you win on the attacking side. What I mean by that is, sure, defense, it's important to get those rounds in, but those rounds are generally going to come, at least in my opinion, a little bit easier. The attacking rounds, that is where you have to put the pedal to the metal. That is where you're going to make the biggest difference between you and your opponent. If you are going to focus on stratting those attacks really hard, grinding those attacks out, if you can get 3-4 rounds on attack, and you're just an average to solid defensive team, I mean, you're already there. You're already getting that win under your belt. So I'm curious to see if that is the intent of Arial Arise. Maybe they've just been sweating out these Clubhouse attacks, but you got to worry about PRG on the defense. That is going to be a beast to walk into if you're Arial Arise. Suppose these first few rounds will give us a pretty good indicator as to that outcome.
You know, I was getting really concerned there. You were saying that on attack, you really win. And I thought to myself for a second, I was like, what are you talking about? No, I totally get what you're saying, though. I definitely agree with you on that. You do normally not win your attacking rounds. And when you do win attacking rounds, you feel good about yourself. That's it. You feel good about yourself. You feel confident, and you feel great about the rounds behind you. And maybe Arial Arise, they're going to be playing with that whole effect. They're going to try to win out some attacking rounds, and looking onto their defense rounds, they're going to be looking to win those out too. So maybe it's a little bit about playing off of the momentum. Maybe it's a little bit playing off of knowing that, okay, these 6 attacking rounds, we're going to get them done and over with. Then we can go on to the bread and butter of Clubhouse. But before we get into that, let's do some operator bans. We got Thatcher going off the board, and with no big surprise, he's a really huge operator to be taking out alongside Habana. Pretty nice ranged hard breacher to be taking out once again. Alongside Ace, she proves to be an extremely favorable duo for the hard breaching side of any attacker favored roster. But with her being out, that's going to have a whole lot of implications on taking away the hatches, on taking away all of the opportunities of getting those hatches, and thus it's going to slow down the attackers a whole lot when it comes to Church and Arsenal. We're gonna have to see that though. So now Valkyrie is our next operator to be taken the boot. She goes out, and so does Mira. Valkyrie, pretty huge to be taken out. It's a whole lot of intel power to not be utilized by the defense anymore. And we know Arial Rise, they had a few really good rounds when it came to intel. So taking out that Valkyrie, it's only going to prove to be hurting them.
I mean, these are standard bans, as you highlighted, Jenna. The one thing, obviously, we still have the Kaid on the board. I think that's going to be a staple for at least Phantom Rose starting out the defense. You still have a Maverick in play, though, right? And that is now a must pick every single round on every single site for the attacking team, because if you still have to deal with those Electro Claws and you don't have a Thatcher to do so, you really have the choice of bringing the Kali, which is not sufficient when it comes to dealing with those invulnerable Electro Claws, or you can bring out the Maverick, generally the preferred choice of any flex support player. And that's exactly what Kool-Aid is going to be bringing out here, utilizing that Surrey Torch, I assume, will be his ultimate goal. We will be starting things off on the basement site, not heading upstairs to CCTV to kick things off. So this one, the Maverick, a little bit harder to utilize properly, right? A Maverick trick or a Maverick opening the kitchen hatch, that is usually certain death. Usually you'll have your Maverick do one of two things or both. You know, you open up that dirt tunnel, make a little Maverick hole in there to pressure in from the north side, and you open up Moto as well. The thing with the Selma charges that we're seeing, and not a thermite or anything like that, of course, you run the risk of not being able to open much of any hatches. Of course, you've got a Rook in play, which is odd to say, but it does mean you've got 4 impact grenades when you combine those of the Wamai from K2. One of those impacts just destroy, you know, a Selma charge or 2 Selma charges, and all of a sudden that kitchen hatch is a tough challenge to certainly overcome. No, Loves, you didn't just do that. Oh my goodness, round 1 is gonna start off with a bang, and look who's dead. It is the Maverick. A perfect early pick from Phantom Rose. They are gonna start things off in the overwhelming advantage position.
Oh my word, to say the least. Kool-Aid going down, you were talking about the whole time the implications of having a Maverick, having to utilize him in the best way possible, and which route the attackers would take to have the Maverick in play, but so unfortunately, it's gonna appear he won't be able to be used at all, and now putting at a significant disadvantage, Ariel Rise is going to have to work with that. And I truly am intrigued to see how they're going to play without the Maverick, how they're going to use Ace to be a just one and done type of player. Is he going to be going in for the hatches? Is he going to turn and look for the walls? We don't necessarily know. That could be huge. But R4 going down just at the same time, having a little bit of variation in the importance of these frags. We got, unfortunately, though, Full Metal picking off Og. Oh man, Full Metal moving up the secret stairs. Huge kill. Now you got a whole lot of utility off the board for Arial Arise. It looks like frag grenades will be thrown into Arsenal. Nothing too huge, no real big picks from that, but it'll be a little bit of utility off from the hatch. Selma Chargers going down on the kitchen hatch, out of all things. Not quite sure if dirt has been opened up yet, but we'll hope that it has been. Ace looks to have no more Selma charges left, so we won't be able to utilize those anymore. Not quite sure where the other Selma charges are once again. We got K2 so far sitting on dirt, and looks like now we know where the Selma charges are going. Yeah, Dami, though, will be looking to pick up some frags after using out his ability once and for all. Still has those smokes in hand, though, but they won't be able to be used. K2 finding the headshot on Dami with an unfortunately misplaced smoke. Can't move through all too well. Lava taking a little bit of damage as now we have a whole lot of defenders sitting on the side of Church. Looking to find any operator misplaced, and it'll happen. Love's on a double kill. Looking through his scope with the MP5. Lava picks up one for himself. That's K2 going down for you, and not a double kill rampage. He's looking for two more. Gonna have to find a player up through the hatch and one through Church, but he won't do it, as it's actually a trade, but you still have one remaining defender. It'll be Loves, and it goes all the way on over to his perspective, looking through the hatch. Most likely would have been able to capture that kill, but unfortunately we don't get to see it.
Yeah, that was a disaster from the beginning for Ariel Arise, and just a great job from Phantom Rose from the start as well. You had just a dastardly play from Loves, just deciding to go for the miracle, go for it all, running out the jacuzzi balcony, collecting the first kill on the round onto Kool-Aid, and from there, the aerial attack, it was flustered the entire time. The one big real misplay from Ariel Arise was having Dami solo push the Wamai, solo push K2 out of Dirt Tunnel. We saw Lava work his drone around, identify the position of K2, and then they decided, you know what, this is Dami's chance, walk right in and deal with this one-on-one, right? And that's not usually the best protocol. Sure, you have a smoke grenade, but you're dealing with a player behind a deployable shield who has no other pressure from behind, nothing else on their mind other than frying you, the player, right in front of their very eyes. That is exactly what K2 did, and Ariel Arise just could not recover from a couple of those early mistakes. But I do really believe that round, that just got off to the best start possible for PRG when Loves went for that ridiculous run out and that ridiculous kill that was delivered. So a great job from them to kick things off on the basement, securing their very first defensive win. With that under their belt, they're going to move on upstairs to CCTV and Cash. We're not seeing any form of hard breach denial, interestingly enough, opting instead for the Wamai Jaeger combo and the Malusi, not bringing the Kaid, no Bandit, no Mute, nothing of the sort. That means that Kool-Aid doesn't have to waste any time Maverick tricking this. Dami can kick it right off with those Selma charges. No impact is actually going to come out from K2 either, so those Selma charges are going to go down completely uninterrupted. Great start from Ariel Arise here.
Oh yeah, most definitely opening up the lines of communication for those bullets. could be very well placed for Arial Rise if they're able to find some frags from it. But now the attack looks on to Garage to pick up that side of the map. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a split push. Some people coming in from CCTV, some from Garage, but Lava opening up the kill feed. Loves unfortunately going down for it. Loves had a really profound impact on the round last time. You see he got 2 kills for himself. Playing on the Rook. This time won't have as much success on Malusi. Now he is actually the first frag to go down, but a whole lot of players sitting in Garage as they look to find K2 off next. Spiff will be picking up a kill. That's the R4C doing its best work. Frag grenades being thrown in as K2 very well might have to die here, and indeed he will. Not a whole lot of time though wasted for the side of Arial Rise as they still have half of the round to go, and only 2 more players to blow through before they win this out. Now Garage is in their control, and so is CCTV from outside. R4 and Rayla on the back foot now as they look to secure red and cash.
First toxic canister gonna go on out. That's gonna do a little bit of chip damage onto Kool-Aid, but even though the red pings are there is simply nothing that PRG can do. Spiff is gonna get a double kill, and Lava will clean things up, getting the flawless round for Arial Arise. Nice job there to bring things back from a pretty dominant win from PRG in that first one, so things will even out now, 1-1. The big thing there I'm wondering is Phantom Rose. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't bring any hard breach denial. Of course, you know that a Maverick is coming, right? So you don't want to necessarily waste that pick per se, right? You want to bring out the Malusi instead. You want to bring out those other operators instead. But what you're doing there is you're allowing Arial Arise to just kind of storm right in early on. It's kind of this balancing act, right? You know there's an operator coming. That's a direct counter to something that you could pull out. But that little thing, it's still valuable because it still forces Arial Arise to, work off that clock and go through that typical checklist. In this case, they just got a shortcut straight into the site. They got an extra 20-30 seconds to work with, basically, and that is not the ultimate, I think, route to success for Phantom Rose Gaming here. I think we saw that route much better displayed in that first round when we saw them really come down with a typical hold. A lot of that hard breach denial was utilized. The Kaid, those electro claws were brought, and when we didn't see that, I'm really not surprised that Arial Arise were able to just storm right in and click heads within an instant.
Right, I mean, Arial Rise, they really thrive when they go in these one-on-one engagements with the defenders, and being able to slow that progress down is going to be a huge objective for PRG. Unfortunately, like you had said, they didn't bring a whole lot of wall denial, and thus not a whole lot of aerial denial either. So not having that wall denial, not having that aerial denial in the hand of the defenders, well, again, it is a shortcut. It's a shortcut to death. It's a shortcut to having those one-on-one engagements. And unfortunately, it is going to be a shortcut to Arial Arise's win, because thus they're able to gain that really potent map control. They're able to get into the objective very quick, and then you're going to have a round win for them. But hopefully we'll be looking to go to CCTV once again for our next round. This will be round 3. We've had 1 apiece for each PRG and Arial Arise, and hopefully PRG will fix the mistakes. They'll get a little bit more wall denial going, and thus they'll also get a little bit more aerial denial going too. I know we had a whole lot of utility denial. We had specific aerial denial being Malusi, but we might very well see a little bit more here. So let's look at it. We got no wall denial so far, but they'll actually be looking to go on to gym and bedroom. That's a really interesting pick. So now there's not going to be any more CCTV cache. So they're going to be sailing along to their next site. And it's going to be Kaid for a 6-pick from Smoke, interestingly enough. So no area denial, or less area denial at the very least. But now it's actually going to be wall denial.
Yeah, so they're bringing in that Electro Claw finally. That's good to see coming out on this gym and bedroom site. And honestly, I really like to see teams just heading straight for the next bomb site in their rotation. All too often, Jenna, do we see teams really just repeat the very same bomb site that they've had a failure on over and over and over again. Usually that'll be on your primary or secondary bomb sites where the defense is generally most comfortable and they expect to find success. But when you're staring down a ruthless attack, like Ariel Arise just unfurled in front of us, I think this is a pretty solid adjustment. Not only does this site just simply change things up and provide more variation, but as easy as these may be to attack on paper, you're possibly catching Ariel Arise off guard here, although the lineup wouldn't really be all that different. Maybe it's going to take them more time to realize what bomb site they're attacking, how they want to make this approach happen. Just these little things that, like I've talked about earlier, they can all add up, slowly ticking that time off the clock. And that, that sixth defender in this lobby, the time can just be even more of that potent factor for the defense. I think that could be a possibility here. We are seeing quite a bit of a cache extension coming out from PRG. You've got your hard breach denial on that jacuzzi wall, and already, Ariel Arise are taking their sweet time to get things going. The logistics hatch now popped on open. Some players working their way in from this CCTV side. That'll be Kool-Aid, Og, and Spiff, who now have secured Raptors control as well. So all of this, the ultimate mission of taking control of this east side, and you've got so many players and so much utility in your way.
Right, I mean, like we said, it's very much area denial. Lava, he'll be opening up the kill feed on this round. Full Metal, unfortunately, taking the hit on that one. Man going 1 and 3, but K2 trying to make up for it. He'll be picking off Og, and that's just about a 1-to-1 trade, I'd say. I mean, well, he's got those discs that come as the round goes along, but you also have a whole lot of utility in the way of Zofia that could be utilized to the fullest potential. Fortunately, will not be able to, although we see K2 will now be taking the opportunity to rotate back on over to the objective. Really good on him to know that situational awareness, know the positional awareness to say, I need to get on back to the objective and help out my team. And I love this site. I love a whole lot of things about it. Just the fact that it's not as cut and dry as Church and Arsenal and as CCTV. I mean, there's a ton of ways to attack it. And there's a ton of ways to defend it too. I mean, we've seen a whole lot of strategies premiered, and we've seen a whole lot of missed strategies. We've seen a whole lot of things go on during the years of Clubhouse and throughout the rework. So it's really cool to see how this site has specifically evolved. So far, we're on the meta of it going in the way of an extension. But Dami Holby taking the opportunity to get right on into the objective, making the diffuser go down. And a whole lot of engagements coming out in the time that I've been talking. Rayla able to get a 2-on-1, picking up a double kill for himself, and now looking for another. But Dami shutting that opportunity down, gets the AK-12 kill. That's a round win for Arial Arise.
Great job there for Ariel Arise, again adjusting to a pretty tough defensive setup there. Pretty standard stuff on the cache extension. You got a player top red, and you've got a player in cache. You've got those reinforcements, the hard breach denial utilized. Everything is there. Just one big time delay mess. But Ariel Arise did a pretty good job to conquer it. They dealt with a player in top red. They forced him on back. They dealt with the player in cache. Again, forcing them on back or taking them out along the way. And that is what is so hard about playing extensions. This extension into cache from that gym site is a perfect example because, again, it can be so successful, right? You can take off so much time off the clock. You can get a pick or two as a defender, but in the same vein, right? You can get picked off early. That time delay, all of that utility and all of that focus you've just put into that extension can completely be removed with the slightest of misplays. And I think PRG fell victim to just a little bit of that phenomena in round number 3. But round number 4, they're going to head back downstairs, head back to Church and Arsenal, and they'll be looking to find similar success in the way that they did in round number 1.
I mean, I gotta agree with you there, but I also gotta disagree with you. I think that the extension definitely could be very successful in the way of the defense, right? It plays out a whole lot, like, it is the premier extension. It is the standard of extensions, right? There's a whole lot of ways to counter it. There's a whole lot of ways to deal with it. But I think the one thing that stays true with that cache extension is the fact that there's normally a time limit on it. There's normally somebody who always goes along and says, well, this needs to be done, and this needs to be a rotation either back to the objective, and we can't be sitting here the entire time. And usually when the cache extension does play out for the entire round, For the most part, it wasn't the best play for the attack. It wasn't the best round for the attack. Either they got cut up at the beginning and it didn't work out for them, or the attack went somewhere else entirely and just decided to not deal with the extension in cash. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of variables going on there, but I do think that eventually that cash CCTV extension does fail. And I think that Arial Rise, I mean, they made it happen quicker than it usually does, normally around half round. But also Phantom Rose, again, those missteps, those little tiny misplays, mispositionings really played in the hand of Arial Rise because they know how to capitalize off of it. They're a smarter team than that, and they simply can do better. But we'll be seeing the next round getting played out. We're going on to Church and Arsenal. And we got a drop immediately going on. Kool-Aid taking the opportunity to head on into Moto, out of all things. We got Loves taking the kill on that one. Dami, unfortunately, going down in... Oh, my word. That's your ace. That's huge for the attack to be taking that big of a hit. Full Metal goes down just as well from Blue. So now we got control on the way of Arial Arise and a flurry of kills all the way around the objective and a very explosive execute. Looks to be a very decisive round for Arial. R4. Unfortunately, the last remaining player up on the board is cornered back into Arsenal, looking for any opportunity at a kill. Gets the smoke kill, but looks to be Og picking up that round. Oh no, it's a triple kill for Lava with the Mossberg. Looking for the last one. Kool-Aid and R4 all at it in this same exact moment. And oh my word, we come back to the slideshow of the RTMP, and it is going to be Kool-Aid to go down to R4. I'm so sad that we didn't get to see that, because that is an amazing play from PRG.
Yeah, that was a series of unfortunate events. Obviously, we completely understand that you on the stream, you can't see a thing, right? It's a complete slideshow for you. And because of that, we are going to be taking a little bit of an extended break here. We again apologize for all the issues we're having. We're going to hope to take a break, work them all out. And when we come back, fingers crossed, we'll have a watchable stream for you. Ideally, we don't have to, treat this like a radio broadcast. We will be taking a little bit of a break. Please stick with us. We will be back as soon as we can. Thank you so much for being patient with us. We're going right back into it. We've got our technical difficulties hopefully handled, and we're going to head right back into Clubhouse. To remind you of the antics that happened in the last round, we saw an unbelievable clutcher. Well, you didn't see, but we saw and slowly reported it back to you. R4 had a ridiculous 1v4 post-plant clutch on the basement bomb site to give Phantom Rose Gaming the win, their second defensive win on that very basement site. So the scoreline is going to even out at 2-2 here on Clubhouse. So things should hopefully be looking up, but I suspect you're seeing a scrolly wheel right now. So we apologize for that, but we're going to hopefully get everything going and see how what appears to be CCTV and cash unfold in front of our eyes.
Yes, we will. So, gotta remember, last time we saw CCTV and cash being played out, unfortunately, it was a round loss for the defense of Phantom Rose. This time, they're going to be looking to win this out. Hopefully, picking up that wall denial, but it looks like they don't got it right now. They're really sticking steady to that Jaeger-Wamai combo that they know and love, trying to waste as much time for Arial Rise moving into Garage is what it seems, but with very little success. Being overwhelmed as a Wamai, even trying to waste out that 1 minute and 30 can be very strenuous on you, and K2 unfortunately not able to do the job. He's not able to play hooky long enough to wait out Arial Rise's very aggressive push, and for that, he gets punished for it. I mean, he unfortunately dies, and while you are eventually supposed to die with that Raptor strategy as Wamai, it's supposed to be at least a little bit longer into the round. Unfortunately, Arial Rise are able to get that much more of what we've been calling a shortcut in the round, and thus more map control. On top of this, they've also been able to get that wall open, granted that there's no wall denial, and getting CCTV for them appears to be easy. I mean, they make it look easy with the way that they're so expertly taking control of Garage and shutting down Phantom Rose. I mean, Phantom Rose, they're trying their damnness to pick up these rounds, but so far it just doesn't seem to be working out in their favor. Arial Rise, they already have their 2 rounds that they need in order to move into their defense rounds with great success. So Phantom Rose, they're going to have to win out the rest of these without fault. Looking at the rest of this.
Yeah, K2, the Raptors player, 2 nades are going to roll right on up, but they're going to be caught out by the ADSs and the Wamai pancakes, but not that nade. Kool-Aid is going to collect the kill finally, but oh my, here is Loves. I'm not sure if his position is aware. Oh, it is! Arial Arise fully aware of Love's position. Lava going to capitalize on that one, cutting down the Jaeger. A huge position for Arial Arise to be in. Raptors control has now been forfeit by PRG. The only thing they have left, well, it's the bomb site itself. Lava actually taken on down, but not out, and Kool-Aid is going to use that opportunity to take down Rella. Dami with the follow-up onto R4. No miracle clutches this time, says Arial Rise, and they will not only do that, but they will deliver a flawless attacking round on CC and Cash. A nice pivot from the absolute disaster that PRG delivered in their direction in round number 4. Now heading to round number 6, Arial Rise, 3 successful attacking rounds, Very successful stuff from them.
Nice. We all have bodily functions, you know. It just happens. It's a thing that happens. I still love you. I still love you, my beautiful JC.
You don't have to bully me for it.
It's okay. I still love you. No. But yeah, Arial Rise winning this out, once again, is super important when it comes down to it, because now...
All right. Well, Jenna, I see that something's going on your end as well, but we all have real lives to attend to, so there's that. But in round number 6, we're heading to gym and bedroom, after all, right? We're seeing the very same story from Phantom Rose Gaming, right? They don't want to repeat CCTV and Cash. They're heading straight on over to this tertiary objective. The last time we were here, things did not go so well. And so Arial Arise, they have the tremendous opportunity afforded to them to take a 4-2 split on the attacking half if they are able to do so. Ooh, that's going to be concerning for PRG going forward. Of course, we'd have to then see an attacker-sided clubhouse, not something that we usually see. So I think this is the make or break moment. We need to see this cache extension work out well. They're implementing the very same thing. You're bringing your Goyo, you're putting that Vulcan shield on the top of red stairs, looking to hold this down as long as possible. And Arial Arise, they're looking to do the opposite. Deal with this as fast as possible, because last time around, I mean, that was the story of the round. They just swept on in, they took it over, and as a result, the site was soon forfeit as well. So they're already underway to doing the very same thing. You've got Full Metal. He's going to be lurking around downstairs, but a couple of those shots actually giving away his position. That now means that Og is likely going to be pretty careful. So is Spiff. I mean, he's just going to be looking at the secret stairs for Full Metal, who is now slowly walking up those very stairs. This could really be a disaster here for the Wamai, and yes, it will. Spiff is going to get a free one. K2, though, he's got a C4, and he's got a kill, now a double, as the pistol will finish off the Ash. And Arial Arise, despite the early success, now find themselves in a trouble position. R4 looking to further this by swinging on into CCTV. Actually, in a very precarious position, but something that Arial Arise may not be fully aware of. Lava's going to collect one, though, from the construction window, and that means R4 is completely isolated. Wait a minute, Dami is right behind him. R4, you got to turn around there, Chief. And Dami getting another in Arial Arise, a 3v2.
Oh my word. Whole lot of things going on during that round, and unfortunately I had a family member just walk into my room. Just wonderful things. Anyways, 3-on-2 in a very intense situation indeed. You got Rayla and K2 to go up against the opposition. K2 trying to find the way back to the objective. I believe he's done it already, and with great fashion, trying to look into this Logi room. He's been placed there so nicely. And now you got a bit of a power position for Rayla and K2 to find themselves in. Looking through the bathroom and Logi very respectively. Og trying to seed out the position of K2, but it's Rayla instead to find the shot on Dami. So a 2-on-2. Og trying to make the plant happen as K2 now looks to close in on the positionings, and oh my word, it is a 2-on-2 made into a 2v0. Defenders winning that one out. All at the last second. A ditch effort, you'll call it, to win it out. A desperate one turned into a way to survive.
I mean, that was huge for Phantom Rose. The importance of that round cannot be highlighted enough. That was a moment in this series where it could have taken a dramatic turn, and Arial Arise, I mean, they could have cleanly taken this round away. But PRG, with that 2v3 clutch, they just said no. They just kept themselves in this fight. And even 3-3 first half on Clubhouse, that is not all that unusual. This could very well be a balanced series. However, 3 rounds still is pretty solid for any attacking team. I mean, that is job well done plus more. I mean, that is good stuff from Arial Arise, and Phantom Rose Gaming are going to have to come out on their own attacking half with some equally strong sauce of their own. Arial Arise are going to be here on defense now, also electing to go to the basement site as their primary site of choice. And this decision, I think, is not too much of a shocker, but for PRG, right? They need to get this down right now. If they can get this win here, I think we could very well go to overtime in this map. If they can secure this first round, setting the rhythm for the rest of this half, they would be in a perfect position going forward. But if Arial Arise can chain 1-2 rounds in a row, I think we'd be looking at a very different storyline at that point.
Two. Oh my word. Okay. Well, I'm getting back into it. Anyways, round 7 going on the board. 3-3. Arial Arise, like you've been saying, on the defense now, looking to close out the rest of these rounds. They're obviously on the favored side of things, and having those 3 rounds under their belt, they're going to look to secure more. Coming in with a very elusive stock push, we're going to have Full Metal and Loves taking their hand, trying this one out, but unfortunately, looks like we're gonna have the Kaid on the stock hatch, so nothing to come of that, unless you want to try to Maverick trick it, but it looks like Rayla will be on the other side of the map trying to Maverick trick out that dirt wall, and it's not as important of a hatch, so it'll look to be overlooked by the attack so far. They may very well not even get it, unless it'll be towards the end of the round. But C4 going out, unfortunately not catching anything. I believe Og was at the spearhead of that one, and Dami as well doesn't have a C4 anymore. But Lava, he's the last remaining player with a C4, and with a very soft floor below the feet of Phantom Rose, it could turn into a very dangerous situation for them indeed. Loves looking to go down dirt tunnel. The defense very well may not know that this infiltration has occurred. This could be absolutely huge. You got Dami and Kool-Aid O looking at dirt, trying to see if there's those attackers, those pesky attackers moving through and gaining that map control. It'll look to be the attack opening up that hatch and Dami finding a headshot because of it. K2 not in the best position to be taking that engagement, but he did, and he got punished for it. Loves now up on the doorway of dirt, looking to find any and every engagement.
Yeah, this one is going to come down, as always, to this last moment execute. Those toxic babes are going to stall out the inevitable, but not for too long. You only got about 30 seconds of time waste with that, especially now that Kool-Aid only has 2 of those remaining. R4 looking to spur this along, throwing some smoke grenades in, but Dami's going to get one in the meantime on Torella. Here comes that full send, but Dami's on a tear. He's got 3 kills to his name. Lava collects 1 to deny the 4K or deny the ace. Loves is going to get 1, but it does not matter. Lava the 2 kills, Dami the 3, and Arial Arise will take decisively. Round number 7, the rhythm definitely established in the favor of this defensive team here on the basement site.
I mean, Phantom Rose taking so many heavy losses at the beginning of the round, trying to recoup it, trying to gain the map control where it's needed and gain up those power positions, but it wasn't really enough. You can't say it was enough because then they had to funnel in through those hatches, they had to funnel in through those doorways that were very predictable, and thus Arial Rise, they played against it and with a great success. They were able to capture that round right out of the hands of PRG, and unfortunate as it is, it's going to be now a 4-3 scoreline, and should really be going still, realistically, in the way of the attack, even though they are on the back foot being on these rounds, but since it was a 3-3 split, it allows Arial Rise to take control of these defense rounds now. Now that it actually wasn't a 4-2, you would expect it to be the other way. As a matter of fact, Phantom Rose having 4, Arial Rise having 3. But with that success, we find Arial Rise going to top floor on CCTV and Cash, utilizing those Maestro cameras. I love the placing of Maestro cameras, you know. I love seeing how different they are for each team, especially when it comes to CCTV and Cash. Not only because I love playing it on a team, but I also love seeing where it can do as much damage as it possibly can, where it's going to play in the strategy of all things, and how much intel it can truly create.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with you on that one. And especially if you have your Valkyrie band, I mean, you take every piece of information that you can get. The Maestro, the perfect opportunity to bring not only the information into play, but that good bit of plant denial. Our scoreboard here, shown by our wonderful observer, that's going to mean 14 kills. I mean, from Lava right now, that is an impressive tally. And as obviously the stream is loading there, we're going to take a quick moment while we buffer that up, but you're not going to miss any action. We're going to head right back into it at that moment. So don't worry about that one. But what we just saw there from Lava, 14 kills. I mean, everyone on this Arial Arise side is lighting it up. And especially in that last round, I mean, we really saw quite a few kills come in his pocket. Overall, though, we've seen both of these teams excel so far on Clubhouse, and I'm really hopeful that Phantom Rose Gaming can start to get some of these attacking wins and make this the competitive matchup that we want to see. I mean, Coastline, Jenna, as a decider map, that is an awesome place to end things up.
Awesome plays indeed. Love trying to find his way, utilizing the Ash breaching charges alongside the R4C. But K2 on the other side of things finds that headshot on Tommy, a very well needed one at the very least. Tommy going on a bit of a tear, I'm not gonna lie. He's the second player off on the leaderboard right now, getting 7 kills. And interestingly enough, it's half of Lava's. And that really says a whole lot about the fragging power of Arial Arise, where it currently is centered, and how the teammates can reciprocate that and make up for it. But seems to be a little bit of a split push going on here for the side of Phantom Rose. They're trying to take control of the construction side of things. Alongside that, they're going to try to look for any opportunity when it comes to CCTV. So far, they're not trying to maintain control with Garage. A little bit concerning because Garage is such a huge power position when it comes to maintaining CCTV control. So I really want to see how Spiff is going to deal with that specifically, and how the rest of Arial Arise should do so as well. But construction wall being opened up, it's going to be smoked off now. Smoke starts the rounds of area denial. Definitely good on him to be conserving those smokes. Still has 2 left. So realistically, he can wait out the rest of the timer with that area denial. So either way, the attackers are going to have to be moving through some mustard gas. Loves, though, he'll be taking the opportunity to go straight into it, getting the upper hand on the defense. You got R4 going down, and in a flurry of kills, it ends with Lava getting a triple for himself. 2 headshots and a quad! Oh my word, Arial Arise shutting down, clearing house, and finding that round in the chaos of it all.
Jenna, I think we gotta put a little spoiler alert cap on that one. You find yourself, I believe you're about 10 seconds ahead of this one, and it's only now just happening. We're getting to see it all happen one more time. Lava now getting that triple, so...
I was behind! I was behind! Oh my word, I was
quite a bit ahead. Quite a bit ahead.
I was behind. You know, I give up. I give up.
Crazy how that happens. I give around.
I give up.
Great job, though, from Arial Arise. Lava, again, the player we highlighted as a big fragger in this one before the round at 14 kills, and I don't know what math says, 17 kills now to his name. Very impressive stuff. Very impressive stuff. Arial Arise, that was a messy round. That was a messy round. Phantom Rose Gaming looked really, really strong at the beginning of that one. I mean, they came right on out and they were just clicking heads. They had a lot of good progress. They had CC control, basically. They had the Rafters player. That was Spiff at 1 HP. Somehow, when the execute came through, Lava was able to make it happen, which, again, very impressive stuff coming out from this clearly quite versatile player. On the side of Phantom Rose, you've got K2 at the top of the leaderboard right now, 7 kills to their name. R4, the player who found that incredible 1v4 clutch just a few rounds ago, has pretty much been shut out since then. The support player, he obviously is relegated to, the drone work and the hard breach work, but not even having an AK-12, he just has not been able to light up the scoreboard as I'm sure Phantom Rose would like. Loves as well, the big star of Villa for this now attacking team, again, has relatively been shut out so far. Definitely not the biggest recipe for success for Phantom Rose going forward, and especially attacking this tertiary bomb site. Our final opportunity to see if PRG can hang right now. If they take this one, we could see this one go the distance. They're going to storm back in. They get that early lead like they did before, and I just cannot wait to see if it can come down to that point. But Jenna, there's one big objective that stands between us and that point, right? It's gym and bedroom. We need to see PRG attack this well. It is the easier site to attack. It's a harder site to defend, and they need to come out accordingly. Kool-Aid is going to be looking to shut this down, already getting aggressive. A possible strip run out, catching a player out on the roof, and he will. Oh my goodness, K2 is going to be cut down, and that is massive for Arial Arise to start things off. Spiff is going to hold left click in celebratory fashion, celebrating what could be the nail in the coffin for PRG.
My word. Well, starting off with a bang is going to be our gym bedroom defense, and I was going to say, this defensive site holds a lot of opportunities for the attackers. Unfortunately, those opportunities being limited now by the remaining players on the soft breach. Unfortunate as it is, you got that sledge off the board. Can't do as much with soft breaching as he would like, but Spiff, he'll limit that down even further. Full Metal taking the brunt of that force. Now you only have one soft breacher on the board. A whole lot being done so far with the with the kills at the very least. A whole lot done with the windows. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit of interference. Let me just come back here. I'm so sorry. You can take it away from me.
Of course, no problem. 1 minute 15 to go in this round, right? And R4 is going to get one, but is that enough? It's a 4v3. He's going to get two. That's a double kill for the ace. He's now looking for more. Rella taking a bit of damage here, needs to get on in safely, and Arial Arise are not looking to allow that to happen. Spiff, he's going to finish off one. Og is going to finish off two. Rella, the last hope for this team, and Spiff just says no outright. Arial Arise will take round 9. They will have their eyes on match point now, and well, that could be all that is wrote for PRG right here. I mean, that was the round they needed to take. They had to show us that they had what it took to take, at the very least, the tertiary bomb site away from Arial Arise, and they were just not able to do so. An unfortunate turn of events, and now they find themselves in the impossible clutch position. They need to find 3 rounds in a row when Arial Arise has just won these very 3 rounds on these very same bomb sites. I just don't know about this one, Jenna.
I don't know about it either. Arial Arise, though, they're getting a little bit out of form so far. They had an alibi, but they 6-picked it, saving that. Going on to Mute. That's a really interesting operator. We haven't seen a whole lot of Mute. We've been seeing more of that Jaeger Wamai combo. We haven't been seeing him shine through, though. I'm sure we've been seeing him picked, but we haven't just been seeing him go absolutely off. I want to see a whole lot from Spiff this round. I want to see that Mossberg come out, and I want to see that SMG-11 show its worth on Church and Arsenal. But it seems like we're going to be getting a little bit of a proxy defense from above. Dami so far is the only player on the objective, but now he'll be going up and out. And a lot of players are going to be on top floor. This is a really interesting strategy to analyze. Not quite sure if it's in the normal playbook for Arial Arise, but I do like it. I like when you have those players roaming top floor. I like when you have a whole lot of early aggression and presence from Arial Arise, because normally, for the most part, they get rewarded from it. And they get a whole lot of reward from it. Normally, a lot of good picks at the beginning of the round, or just a round shutdown in general. That's how good they are at starting off that beginning round presence and aggression.
Well, the aggression, it's definitely being teased from Phantom Rose Gaming. I mean, you've got the Ying. I mean, that's the point of the Ying after all, right? You can just dump those Candelas into the bomb site, dump those smokes on through, and just go for a quick execute. That may be the plan here once the kitchen hatch is opened up. I think Phantom Rose, they find themselves in the do or die kind of situation. Og is here to really solidify this one. He's trying to get this line of sight onto the kitchen, but he can't quite catch out anyone just yet. Rella is playing this one a bit slowly because, and correctly so, there is a suspicion that Og or somebody is playing over in bar. Lava is here to support this as well. Breaking this barricade should identify PRG of his position, but no! K2 is once again going to be the very first victim in this round in the worst fashion possible. The scoreboard's going to light up. R4 is going to get one, though, retaliating for that one, and Loves is going to collect one as well. It's a 2v3 now as Rella is finding themselves on their back. The smokes now going down as Loves find themselves in the middle of the bomb site. R4 actually ignoring his teammate who's trying to clutch this one up, getting his teammate up instead, who is on the floor. Now the Candelas are flashed. Love is trying to make something happen, but the lone player in the bomb site can't do anything. A team kill finds its way out from Og, so it's going to be 4 kills on the scoreboard for him. And Arial Arise will close things out right here in round number 10 on Clubhouse. Arial Arise will win out the series. They will move on to the semifinals.
What a game from the side of Arial Arise, shutting down the opposition of Phantom Rose Gaming. I mean, can't say that we didn't expect this outcome to happen, especially being that Arial Arise has so far been in the driver's seat for most of this league competition, going 4-1. Those statistics do not lie. And like we said, arguably the one game that they did lose, well, they had a sub in. So it could be washed from their record in the case that they win this. But Arial Rise, they've had a past. They've had a great past, and they've had a successful past, a commercially successful past. And especially here, it's not gonna lie, Phantom Rose taking the hit on that one. Fortunately, they will not be going on. And that 3-2 record for them will unfortunately go 3-3. They've won 3, they have lost 3. But Clubhouse and Villa, this has been a game that's been lit up. Crazy rounds, crazy kills, crazy plays, crazy strategy. Everything surrounding these games have been so contested. Fortunately, Phantom Rose not coming out on top with a little bit of misplays, a little bit of misguided information, and a little bit of just misguided plays just in general. Oh my word. But Arial Rise, they take advantage of that everywhere that they can, and they know how to play off of that, and they know how to get aggressive when they need to. Arial Rise winning that one out in such a stunning fashion, as always.
Yeah, one of the cases of, and this is really good to see. You see a team just outplay the other. It's not necessarily that PRG were making more mistakes there. It's just Arial Rise, they were just the better team, and even with a sub in play. So I think that is a really good sign for them going forward. They've got to be feeling confident after this win, and so going into the semifinals, that'll be a really good place for them to be. It is going to do it for us on the Siege side of things tonight at UPL. Tomorrow night, though, at 8 p.m. Eastern, at least that's the plan, we've got It Worked taking on, Team Boosted in our other quarterfinal. The winner of that game will face Arial Rise in the respective semifinal. So keep an eye out for that. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, right back here at Upsurge Esports. But that is going to do it for us tonight, at least on the Siege end. Stay tuned for some League of Legends action if you're into that kind of thing. But for us, for myself, Jays Wills, for Jenna, for Max, our wonderful observer in the booth, and for Andy, our amazing producer, I want to thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great rest of your evening. So long.